All right, hello, hello. Apologies, everyone. I just realized that the live stream schedule was for 12:15. Sorry about that. In my mind, I had 12:30. I was whipping up lunch and whatever. So hopefully we still have some people still floating around. Again, sorry about that. Let's get started, shall we? I need iTerm open. I've been working on my Mac all week. My MacBook Pro and not the iMac. So let's give that a second to boot up. Let's bring up PHP Storm and let's go out to github.com/Laravel shift curl converter. There we go. So unfortunately I didn't get any pulls for the week, which means that's fine. But that means all the failing tests from earlier in the week are still failing. So let's go ahead and clean those up. All right. Hey, Robin, how's it going? Bernard, Germany. All right, cool. Which part of Germany? I'm a little bit familiar. Been there a few times. All right, workspace, cd curl converter, git checkout, main, git pull. All right, there we go. We got everything we need. Let's make sure Docker is up and running so we can do these tests. We'll see which ones are failing, and we will go from there. So, all right. I know one of these tests is going to be a little bit gross, so I'm gonna give it like 5-10 minutes. If it works out well, great. If not, I might leave it broken for the time being. So, but originally south of Munich. Yeah, I've been to Munich or München. All right, did Docker start up? I think so. Shift runner. Let's do composer update because I think some things changed. Hey, Adrian, how's it going? Yeah, let's get composer update running because I think I added pint and all sorts of stuff. So, or pint, sorry. I keep calling it pint because Nuno names things, these mashup of two words, right? So pest is, like PHP and test, right? So it's pest. And then he said, this is like PHP and lint, so he called it pint. Well, in my mind, I call it pint because it's lint and it's a mashup, so you change the P. But all the stuff for it is pint. But then, of course, Nuno said he's never heard the term beer for pint. So how did he know it was called pint and not pint? Anyway, a little rambling there while we're letting composer finish up. So just crazy stuff. Okay, so we have these failures. This is really what I consider kind of like the V1, or not really V1, but V0.1. This is good enough for like an MVP initial release. So yeah, pint. Yeah, exactly. So if it is pint, then yeah, that's where my head was too. Again, his mashup, but all the icons and stuff for it and the stuff on the web is a bunch of GIFs for, pint classes. But then he was like, well, I never knew that was a beer. So anyway, the biggest annoyance with the changes currently is the fact that this is all kind of a bit wrong as far as the formatting. So we saw this the other day where array is coming across as array. And right now I'm just using var export. Now why var export in PHP still uses the old array syntax blows my mind. Or at least maybe doesn't have some flag options that you can pass in to kind of tell it which one as of PHP 8.2, again, blows my mind. But we can see that syntactically it's wrong, but technically it is equivalent. So I'm not going to spend too much time fixing that because I think it's a rabbit hole. It's going to burn a lot of time. What I do want to work on though is kind of getting some of these other tests to pass. So this one in regards to the fact that it's not sending any of the form data, that's kind of interesting. Again, same thing here. It's not pulling across like this multi-part form, any of this other stuff. Here, this with tokens, kind of a nice little mashup there, and then the authorization headers are coming across. So we can see here that this authorization thing should basically get removed and turn into the bearer token up here, so with token. So that's kind of a nice one to start with. And then also content type, I was reading and I forgot that the HTTP client in Laravel actually automatically defaults to application JSON. So that's why I updated some of these tests to be like as multi-part or as form, which is now working, because if you just want to send raw form data, you need to specify that. Otherwise, whatever data you pass in the payload here will be converted or JSON encoded. Is the correct way to say that. So the point is that this test is failing because these two are not being streamlined. One, this being removed automatically because it's the default, and then two, this being condensed or collapsed or streamlined, whatever you want to call it, into this with token by cutting this part out. And then finally, this with basic auth, this is getting passed in as user data to curl, colon separated. So this will be another nice one to kind of streamline. And again, we can see the rest of this really just deals more with this silly array formatting that's not happening correctly. So I'm going to shut down Docker just to save us a little bit on the CPU cycles. Let's bring that out and come back and check this out. I also pronounce it pint. Yeah, exactly. Hey Samuel, how's it going? Ben. Yeah, I mean, it's probably pint. So anyway, off topic. All right, let's get some of these mashups going. And again, for those that maybe missed the testing layer, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a single test. Everything's packed down to Artisan at this point because, again, I will ultimately make this a package instead of a Laravel application. That's pretty straightforward, so I'll probably do that off stream. But all I really do is call Artisan. I gather the output. I make sure that it passed with an exit code of 0, the Artisan command that is, and then I assert that the file contents of whatever fixture output is what Artisan output. And here's all my fixtures. So I just got like a basic GET request, basic post. I kind of mashed some stuff up here with post data, with JSON, raw JSON that is, with form data, with headers, with the JSON content type. So again, we see that that broke. And then the original examples from Mailgun, DigitalOcean, and Stripe. This is super easy to do. All you do is you go in here in a fixture, you make an input, you make an output. So here's the curl command input, and here's the curl command output. Here's the HTTP client output of that curl command. So super easy to get in here, set up these test fixtures, integration test this. This might change slightly to use Orchestra's test bench once it is a package, but the point is there's just a single test with a data provider. You go in, you give it a nice little key name to help with the output, as we saw here in Docker. You know, instead of just saying, oh, dataset 5 failed, it actually kind of says DigitalOcean example request failed to Stripe, so that's helpful. So if you want to help or you come across something that is broken, open up a PR with the failing test, even if you don't know how to make it pass. That's a huge help. Just go in here, tell me where the example came from, drop the curl command in, and what you expect the HTTP client to be, and we'll get it all fixed up. So I think that's nice. That's pretty smooth in my opinion. So, okay, so we have our failing test. Let's go to the HTTP call, because really, similarly, everything is in the HTTP call. At this point, I feel like the model, this request model that we have, is pretty well built out. I don't think that there's much more that this needs to do. Remember, this is just a DTO. It is not responsible for any nuances that need to be made to output this as an HTTP client. This is a representation of the request, the original request coming in from curl. We shouldn't necessarily go in here and remove headers or anything like that, because if you think this is just, again, a data transformation object, it's an object of data that we're going to transform by something else. Theoretically, we could have this output PHP curl functions instead of HTTP calls. So as such, we wouldn't want to do things in this model like automatically strip the content application JSON header, right? Because that's specific to the HTTP call. So again, just a little sidebar there about this. So I think what I'd like to do here is probably do something where we like pre-filter these options before headers kind of happens. So I'm thinking something here where it's like filter headers, and that would remove content type application JSON. But we would also need something that would kind of pre-filter it in the sense of like it would remove things like the bearer token or like multi-part form content or any of those types of things, right? So I have the collapsing of that up here where it's like, look, if you have request data in your GET, then go ahead and pass in multi-part form data. But you could also be specifying the header, again redundantly, in the curl command. So we need to kind of account for things like that. So let's start with the easy stuff. For now, we'll basically just say something like, these are all private static, which is kind of starting to get a little bit weird, but we'll basically say something like filter headers, and we'll pass it in the request headers. And at the least, this could go in and kind of filter out some of the stuff we know. We're still going to need to do some things like the bearer token and the auth basic token, but we could maybe do that separate. Or maybe we'll collapse it. I don't know. I don't know what this looks like yet. Let's figure it out. So this is going to return an array. And basically the simplest thing we could do here is probably just do some kind of, for now, some collection pipeline where we say headers, and we might like reject certain headers. We might even just be able to say like where not or something. I think we probably could. Oh my gosh. .com, Laravel.com, thank you. Yeah, we could probably just say, I think you can say where not. I always have to go and look at this. Let's see here, where not in, where in? Where's just your regular where not? I guess there isn't one. I guess you would just say where. I guess you would just say where and then throw in a not there. Yeah, I guess so. Problem is, like, this is a little bit loose, or we might want this to be looser, but we can start with it this way. The key would be content type, and the operator is not equals, I guess. So that's just kind of, I know this mimics like the query builder, but that's kind of weird, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like there should be a where not. Am I crazy? No, there's not. There's not a where not. Okay. Application JSON, and then return all those. What a break. Enumerates values. Oh, there we go. Sorry, we had an extra. Okay, let's see if this gets us a little farther down the road. Vendor bin PHP unit. And we might need, I don't know if you can run a specific one or not. Okay, so we still have content type application JSON floating around in this one. So what did we get wrong? Content type not equals application JSON. Collect headers where, maybe we can just dump these, see what we're getting. So we still have content type, application. What are we doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong here? If anybody knows. Where key, content type, is not equal to application JSON. Content type, application. I don't think I have anything misspelled. I don't think I've misspelled anything. Maybe my operator's wrong? What are the operators? Yeah, not equal. Yeah, deleted at, not equal to null. It is not filtering that out. Why? I would 100% expect this to work. Couldn't tell you why that doesn't work. If someone knows in the chat, let me know. Yeah, string comparison maybe? I don't know. That's fair. Nope. Yeah, I couldn't tell you why that doesn't work. Yeah, that's very, very strange. I don't know if I've got some hidden key in here or I've totally mistyped something or what. Let's just see if does it even support the equal? Like maybe something with the structure of this is not what I expect it to be. Let's try that and just see what happens. Yeah, see, it's not even finding it. So either something about the structure of the key. Let's just dump this real quick. Do know. I keep putting the ending on there. I mean, it should have a key, content-type, application JSON. And then it dumps and it finds nothing. I don't know. Something about this comparison, this where key is not, it's not working out. I either typed something weird here that I can't tell I typed weird, or let's just, real quick. That's exactly the same. That's exactly the same. Yeah, no clue. We're going with reject. Function equals header, or well, let's say header and then value. So if header is equal to, yeah, if header is equal to content type, and we'll say and str to lower of the value is equal to this. So this is kind of smoother anyway, just in case someone types something else. And again, there might be variants. Some people might use text JSON or whatever, so we might need to tweak this. So I think reject is ultimately the way to go here, but it's just it's a little funky that where didn't work the way I wanted it to. So let's leave the dump in there just to make sure I'm not absolutely crazy here. Yeah, see, reject took it out. So I don't know. I don't know what that was about. Okay, so we're just down to the bearer token now. So let's mess with those and we'll come back to why some of this other stuff maybe didn't work. So anyway, we'll come back to that. All right, so we're rejecting that. We're filtering headers. And then now, yeah, we've got some of these other ones like accept JSON and all this other stuff. So here is where, so we're going to filter the headers that are default. There's more things we could do in that method, like the multi-part forms, or the as form, or all that kind of stuff. We could definitely filter those things out as well. I'll throw a little to-do in here of like, whoops, to-do in here of has data for multi-part or post data. Let's say has header to match multi-part or ASCII form data. Yeah, So we could pull those out. So again, that could be figured out by the fact we'd have to pass the whole request in here instead of just the headers, but we could figure that out as well. So I think there's more that this method needs to do that can be driven out by additional tests. But I think for the test that we have, let's keep focusing on some of these other things and see if we can get it down to just that array formatting issue. So let's say something like headers equals self. We'll call this like collapse helpers or something like that. We can say request headers, and we'd probably need to pass in the options that we're doing. This isn't really options, this is kind of like methods or chain, but naming's hard. So let's add this method, and we're going to collapse headers, and we're actually going to take options in as a reference, and we're ultimately going to return an array of headers. So what we would want to do here is a similar rejection, but here is where we would do things where we would kind of like add on to options something like accept JSON, right? Gets a little funky. Let's how do we, I guess you have to use options. Hello, there we go. All right. Why does options hate me? Reference is unnecessary, so argument is neither assigned nor further passed by reference. Yeah, it is. Oh, you have to reference it here. I always forget that part. There we go. Okay, so it's not that. And here we would say accept, and this would be application JSON. So if you have an accept header for application JSON, then we know that you're gonna set this, right? And then the other one that we can do is that bearer token one. So we could say something like, if you have authorization, right, and str lower, we could say, it's more like we could do string of value, lowercase it, and see if it starts with bearer. There we go. If it starts with bearer space and it's an authorization header, then we pretty much know that that could be collapsed to with token, and we would pull out the bearer token. So here is where we would need to say str after. That's kind of weird. I don't know if we can trust that it's, you know, I don't know if we can trust that the token is bearer. I guess we could take a substring of it. I was thinking like after the word bearer, but we can't really like manipulate it. We can't really do lower or upper here because it would mess with the token that they're passing. So I think the safe thing, even though this isn't 100% safe, I think the thing to do would be to take after the characters of the word bearer space. That's probably the simplest thing to do. I'm not saying that that's 100%, but I think that's probably the way to go. So we could say something like substring, I guess, of value, and we'd start at the offset would be the distance of bearer, which is 7. I keep putting those semicolons everywhere. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. So it didn't kill content type application JSON. So we're back. We've lost some ground there. I'm hearing people in the chat, so I think I probably broke something that people know I broke. But I do see the token in there, so we're just kind of missing, we're missing some stringification of this. I'm probably going to clean up like the output of a lot of that stuff because that's a little bit weird. Okay, this looks a lot better. We really just need this with headers to go away. So for some reason we lost our content type. Oh, we're not using headers here. Whoops. We need to actually use the headers that we've already filtered. That helps. All right, let's see if we get a little farther. Okay, with token, and looks like I just didn't put a semicolon on the end of my output. So let's go check that out. I'm hearing some chat. We'll see what people say. Which one is this? DigitalOcean? Yeah, I forgot my semicolon. That is a bad test case. Let's try this again. Okay, cool. We're a little bit farther down the line now, so we're really just missing, I think with basic is going to be the next little bit here that we can work on. And then it seems like multi-part form data is just straight broken. It's like not outputting multi-part form data the way we would expect. So all of these are just putting out the URI. So I just have a little bit of a bug there. So let's keep working on this with basic because I think that's going to give me the last little bit there. And then we'll try to clean up this post. With token handle multiple typos. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's get back and try to work on this bearer thing. Now if we look, or sorry, this authorization thing. So someone's not happy with me. Okay, cool. There's probably a few people not happy with me. All right, so user, I don't think that we send across, user data currently. So let's go back to the top. Let's go back up to the top of our command. Yeah, sorry. Curl command. All right. Oops, not the test. Let's go to the actual curl command. Do we send across user data? User, here we go. Option user. Yes, we do. So I think we need to split that up in our request. So we just gather options from the command. And then we turn this into a request. So let's go down here. And I think what we can do is say if probably if options user, I guess, or if data user. So if data user, Dan, I got no idea what you're talking about, man. Either share or don't create drama. Can you assign directly into a property in PHP? Let's try it. I've never done this before. Let's say user username and then request password. I'm very curious if you can like explode into properties. It doesn't seem like you can, but we're going to find out. So we're going to split on that, and it's going to be data user, and we're going to limit that to 2. Because if you have a colon in your password or something, like that's We wouldn't want to split on that. So let's add the property for username, and I guess its default should be null. So we'd have to say string, and then I guess PHP Storm's like, you don't need to do that. And then we'll say password. What's PHP Storm griping about? I think they probably just are like, you don't need the null. Whatever. Oh, because we never do anything with it. We only set it. That's fine. I don't think we need to do anything with it right here. Okay, so the last thing before with headers, I think we would probably want to go ahead here and say if username, so yeah, if request has username or password, then we would want to add into the options a call to with basic auth, I think it is. And then same thing, we would say request username. If username's null, then you would really just be passing in blank, which I think is legitimate. The trick is you may not have a password. Your password might be blank. But I guess you'd always be passing something in, potentially. I guess you don't have to in Laravel, but again, I'm going to go ahead and do it here. So let's just say, whoops, we're not writing Perl. Request password. So let's build these methods that I programmed by wishful thinking here. So let's add this method, and this would basically return is set this username, this password. Actually, I think that's an and. If multiple parameters are supplied, will return true only if all. Oh, okay. No, wait. So we won't be able to pair those together. So I have to say or. All right. So if one of them is set, because you could just set the password, I suppose, then there's that, and we can return a bool. And then username is just going to be an accessor for string, and we would say return this username or an empty string, and we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the password. Password. All right, cool. So that'll help us just kind of output those two things. So let's see if this is a little farther along, and then, oh, we've got a loop somewhere. What did I break? Request 103. What did I do here? Oh, that'll do it. It's recursively calling that forever and ever and ever and ever. Yeah, I had those calling the actual getters instead of direct property access, so that's kind of lame. Okay, so what do we have here? We have with basic auth API 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it is actually putting that correctly, but the problem now is, again, this multi-part form data just seems to be breaking for us. And then here is an example where I was actually streamlining this part. I'm not even passing in the password when you don't have one. So that's kind of interesting. That's a little bit of an interesting nuance there. That's what I was kind of mumbling about a minute ago. I'm wondering if for the MVP I just changed the test to be an empty password, or do I clean this up? Let's clean it up. Shouldn't take too long here. Okay, so we would need to cut the string off there, close that, and then basically say if not empty password, then, oh shit. Let's just say header equals that. If not empty password, header equals or dot equals the rest of this. There we go. Oops. Okay, so header dot equals that, and then finally options would be equal to that header. All right, let's see if that plays along a little nicer. Oops, forgot the closing bracket somehow. Oh, if it, okay. Ugh, ugh. Very, very gross. Else header dot equals that. Oh, that's nasty. That's all sorts of nasty. Okay, we got that test passing now. It's actually skipped out. So the only thing wrong with this test for the Stripe example, which uses only a username and no password, is again just this nasty array formatting. Oh goodness. Okay, so we'll refactor code later. Let's keep trying to get some of these passing. So I think the main thing I want to mess with now is just the let's figure out what's going wrong with this form data, because then I think it's really just the output formatting. But it seems like any of these multi-part forms are no longer getting picked up for some reason. So I must be messing up a portion of the form data or overwriting it or some kind of logic mistake. So let's kind of check that out. Okay. All right, let's catch up on the chat here. Adrian, it works. Yeah, Dan tried pasting a link, but it gets, okay, well, just message me on Twitter, Dan. Let me know what this supposed drama is. User and pass calling themselves. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it seems like we're all caught up now. Check with basic auth. You must pass an empty string. Oh, Adrian, are you saying that you actually checked and you do have to pass the empty string? I thought they defaulted to null. So sprintf and with the password, and yeah, again, I think there's some good opportunities to go in and refactor some of this like string manipulation. It's pretty gross. So I definitely want to do that. Adrian, let me know if you actually checked the 9.x. Yes. Okay. Well, if you checked it, you checked it. Let's 2 parameters required. So let's just go back to where we were here. We'll just Command Z that up. I didn't like that nasty if statement anyway. So here we go. Let's put Humpty Dumpty back together again. That should be that. And then let's go and change our out for Stripe. And we need to pass in an empty string here, supposedly. All right, let's make sure we're still passing. And we are, or at least we're passing for that particular portion. Okay, so now the issue is, again, this form request post data. So let's kind of review this and see what I did wrong here. We're passing in options. Not all of the tests fail. It seems like only the multi-part form data is not getting handled anymore. So let's go look at request. And let's go back up here. Maybe I broke something up here. So here's what we do. If the data is not empty, then we set the data based on JSON or something else, and then we parse the data, whatever, and then we empty the fields, or sorry, if the fields are not empty, then we parse that data into data also, and we mark it as a multi-part form data. So we should be marking this correctly. Let's just var dump, or dump, since we're in a Laravel app. Let's just var dump request data here, and see that this lines up with what we expect. So this would let me know that it's where it's a problem. Is it a problem of we're actually not passing the data in correctly, or is it a problem in the output of the HTTP call? So if we go take a look at this, both of these are empty. Okay, so we are getting in here for not empty fields, but it seems like our parse data option is not working, and it is because I'm passing the wrong thing down in there. Okay, that's what you get. Okay, there we go, much cleaner. We're getting the foobar stuff in here now, and row and all that extra stuff. So if we go down here and look at this, this should be cleaner now, but of course, back to the old array syntax issue. So we're getting as multi-part form in there. We're getting the post being sent correctly. At least the first line is formatted well, but any kind of nested arrays are not matching up correctly. Same thing here. Any kind of nested arrays are not getting matched up correctly. So for some reason, this 2 got collapsed. That's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, this is a PHP thing. If we go look at Mailgun's in example, they have multiple form fields for 2 and 2, but really in PHP land, that would be, that should be something like this. That's kind of a PHP requirement. Mailgun would not know that. I wonder if that's something we should handle or leave alone. So let's, just to prove that that works, let's kind of do this and see. Yeah, so we get the values back, but now we're to that array bit there. So I'm going to tweak Mailgun's example for now, but that's something to kind of keep in mind. So I think we're in a place now where the only issue, JSON with content type, test fixtures JSON with content type. Do I not have one of those? JSON with, oh, it was tested through something else. Okay, let me get rid of that test real fast, because that's not an actual failure. Okay, so if we scroll through these, we should only have the failures relating to the formatting of the array, formatting of the array, formatting of the array, formatting of the array. Okay, so that's our only failure at this point. Feature-wise, I think we are pretty darn good for an MVP. We've taken all these crazy different examples. I am going to check the chat, and I'll spend maybe just a few minutes trying to see if we can clean that up, but I don't think it's going to be... let's see here. 2 params required. Okay, something about a page you made where you said something about file system in S3 cannot be updated. Oh, I gotcha. Going back to the someone's not happy with me. I see. Okay. Yeah. Very, very distracting, people. What does that have to do with anything? You checking? Yeah, okay, Adrian, we're caught up there. All right, cool. Yeah, I think that was something like the Laravel 9 shift. There's some nuanced wording in there where people probably, yeah. Oh, someone reported that the other day. Maybe they're talking about the can I upgrade shift. The package got renamed. Like league turned into like the league, and so it's saying it's not compatible because it can't find it anymore. And I don't feel like wasting my time trying to make that one exception for them. Okay. Failing test-wise, let's go look at this output formatter bit there. HTTP call. I think we have like a pretty print array here. Yeah. Okay, so this was a little something I found on Stack Overflow. I actually am not using it at the moment. I'm not exactly. This one took a minute to like bend my brain on, so I was just kind of like leaving it alone. Same with this one. This got a little crazy as well. I think they're like stripping out the keys. It's kind of weird. So anyway, we will use it real quick just to see where it makes us land. So I'll do preg replace the array keys from patterns with patterns and output, and we'll just turn off what I'm doing for the time being. Yeah, here's that same kind of removing of the associative array thing. Let's run this and just kind of see how crazy it puts things. Okay, actually that actually looks pretty good. It's just the spacing's off. Yeah, that one's not gonna be easy to solve. Oh, I left my var dump in there. Whoops. Let's fix the spacing, which is, I don't know which one the spacing would be. I think my spacing was done with this one, so we probably want to bring that back to life. I think we probably want to bring that back to life. Yeah. And I think we would even want to do it first. Let's see where this gets us. Yeah, this breaks us down an extra line without that closing spacing, which I think is related to this one where they kind of take all that out. Yeah. This would be one would be this at the beginning of the line with a closing brace, and they change it back. This does get us pretty close, but there's a couple nuances with this. Anytime you have an array, an indexed array, let's say, sequentially numeric index array, this guy, I would actually want to remove those and even potentially streamline it. Now that's super refined. What I could do is write another little bit here that basically says any space followed by a digit, arrow, whatever, would be removed by the space, and just whatever you found as the value. So let's kind of see where this lands us. So we can see that this strips those indices out of there. It kind of strips everything out of there, actually, which is kind of nasty. That's probably not what we should do. That's interesting that it took more than that. It shouldn't actually take that much. Let's see. Oh, this is 1 and this is 2. Where the F is 3? There we go. Let's try that again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so they're not spaced correctly, but this would actually get rid of the numeric indexes, but yeah, it would have to be refined, but it's kind of, technically speaking, if you somehow index these as like 1, 2, 3, an array that starts with an index of 1 instead of 0 based, this would get removed. So kind of what I'm starting to feel like is, I feel like var export might not be the way to go. I feel like JSON and code with some regex tweaking would kind of be the way to go. I think they have like a JSON pretty print. Yeah. Just for quick giggles, let's see what this looks like. If we go take a look at this, you know, we get foobar, we get row 1, 2, like it automatically strips out indices where it knows, that they're zero based. If we go down here, again, 2 is already stripped out. And here, order meta, this would take some coaxing from like a curly brace and a double quote kind of scenario. But I wonder, again, pretty print also too, like already puts it in the format that we would want. So it's really just becomes like double quotes, escaping issues, and kind of those curly braces, which personally I feel like would be a lot easier to clean up. So this is why I don't necessarily want to mess with this on stream. I think it's just going to be like one of those like brute force hack jobs until you kind of land on what you want. Like, what's the lesser evil? var export and then like a series of no one can read patterns, or like JSON encode, pretty print, where everyone knows kind of what that looks like. And then we see that we're swapping out curly braces in the appropriate spots. I think that would be, 2 or 3 regexes here, and then probably like, maybe you don't even have to do a regex to change to single quotes. Like, again, that's perfectly acceptable to have a quoted string in PHP, so, or a double quoted string. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the chat. Again, I don't think I'm going to mess with this right now. I'm going to go back to having that be commented. We'll kind of comment that out with it and bring this part back to life. And we should be back to those failing tests where we have that old array syntax. Again, we know that this is valid PHP. It's just super effing ugly. Maybe there's a formatter option. Maybe there's something where, like, we were joking about pint or pint earlier, but maybe it's something where like I have pint as part of this and I run like a formatter on this HTTP call when it's done. I don't worry so much about getting this like, pixel perfect for that. So, or yeah, maybe there's a package out there that does a better job of outputting an array. We could take a quick look for that. So let's do that, and then I'll end the stream. Packages.org. Let's see here. Array output, or output PHP array. I don't know what they would have here. Output array. Array output for console commands. Get the output of PHP as an array. Yeah, I'm sure there's like some kind of like pretty print array or something. JSON pretty print. Pretty array, here we go. What's this? Oh, it's abandoned. Oh no. Imagine you can pass a string to CSFixer. Yeah, again, but like that creates a really heavy dependency for this package, which I really just don't want to do. Can't you trigger the formatter inside the code base it is loaded in? Yeah, assuming they had one, but again, you'd have to know which one they had and then ask, so it's kind of like, I think finding a package would be the way to go. I think initially what I'll do is probably just use var export and try to clean up that array and not worry so much about the, the indices or whatever, or maybe I just pre-strip them like we were demonstrating. It's only 1 or 2 regexes away from that working correctly. So I'll probably do that for the MVP, tweak my test cases to match maybe those extra lines instead of a compact array, and then I'll wait for somebody smarter than me on Symfony var exporter to kind of check that out. Oh, var exporter. Let's just check this real fast. Let's see if they have any examples. Var exporter. Unlike var export, this works on any serializable PHP value. This is probably heavier than what we need, but let's kind of see. Does it have a demo? Might have a demo. I'll toy around with this one. It's probably a good recommendation. I'll see if this gives me something out of the box that's a little bit prettier. And if so, then I'll use this. But if not, I might just stick with those regexes to begin with. So anyway, thanks for joining live, everybody. Sorry again for the delay, and I will go see what people are barking at me about on Twitter or whatnot. See y'all later.